What is the most NSFW thing you have witnessed at a party? Our CEO had a Super Bowl party at his new giant house for all the company employees. There was probably like 30 or 40 people there. As the night goes on, everyone is pretty drunk, and he's that type of guy who loves to party and is handing out shots all night. Then one of the new guys that we just hired can't hold it anymore, and he pukes on the back patio. Now the crowd freaks out, and the CEO walks up and tells him if he will eat it off the ground, he will pay him $100. So puking guy looks at his disappointing look on his wife's face and then turns and says, "I'll do it for $1,000. The CEO busts out $1,000 cash, I guess he just walks around with it, and a spoon appears out of nowhere, and he proceeded to eat it off the ground. The crowd freaks out, and the CEO tells him he would have paid him $10,000. The worst part is, come Monday morning, the CEO fired him, saying, "We can't work with people that would do something like that." I went to a party right out of high school and was drinking with some friends. There was a girl that got super messed up but was somehow still functioning, and there were some dudes inevitably trying to hit on her. So after a few hours, I'm fairly drunk and end up getting tired, so I figured I'm about to pass out on the couch until drunk girl sits next to me. She tells me that we should bang, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I've got a condom, sure. 5 minutes of fooling around, and she stops me and tells me that in order to bang her, I have to tell her that I love her. I sat there for a moment and responded, "But I don't love you." And this apparently broke her heart because she ran off to the other room and I was just kind of left there stupefied. A minute later, I hear people yelling and freaking out. I walk into the kitchen and lo and behold, a drunk girl is face down in the floor, dress up, with liquid crap erupting from her behind. The smell was foul, and I didn't stick around for the cleanup. I went to my car and passed out until about 7 a.m. and then went home. Went to a topless party in college, as in a party where guys and girls were shirtless. After doing a jello shot off of a stranger's jugs, I told my friends a few doors down about the party. They arrived just as most of the girls went into a back room to get high, and a big bearded man decided to show off his Jacob's ladder by making it a bottomless party. My friends didn't trust me for a while after that. We were throwing a house party for one of our roommates that was turning 21. And said birthday boy was wasted fairly early in the night and was placed in the bathtub with the curtain drawn. Their logic was that he could sleep, and if he'd throw up, he'd be in the tub. A couple hours later, this girl shows up. She was a friend of a friend, an 18-year-old, maybe 5-foot super white girl who just got off her shift at Twin Peaks. As the mostly sober host, I welcomed her and went outside to have a cigarette. Maybe 15 minutes later, I return inside to find the tiny white girl on the floor puking into a trash can. Well, that escalated quickly, but not shocking considering her size. Now, the start of the weirdness was that she was conversing with my friend Daniel in fluent Spanish. Oh, okay, so she speaks Spanish. A little surprising, but whatever. So between heaves, Daniel and I help her to the bathroom to pray to the porcelain gods. She wants to shut the bathroom door, and I say sure, but not to lock the doors so that we can get in there if she passes out to make sure that she doesn't, die. Of course, as soon as she goes in, she locks the door. Now, what we had forgotten was that the birthday boy was still asleep in the tub. He was awoken by what he described as the worst smelling crap he had ever smelled in his life. Not wanting to let this random girl know that he was hiding in the bathtub, he did his best to keep quiet through the gagging. Tiny girl had diarrhea so rank that she decided that she was too embarrassed to face the party. Her solution? Climb out the tiny bathroom window. When we got the door unlocked and went in, we found her halfway out the window, her crap-covered pants on the floor, and birthday boy pale and sweating in the tub after his unwanted birthday surprise. She slept on her side on the couch with a female friend to watch over her. And the next morning, she claimed to not remember a thing and swears she doesn't know a word of Spanish. Had an outside party at an old house of mine where a rando passed out on his side in the middle of the driveway. The 8 or so friends that he'd come with all let him sleep and the party continued around him. Eventually, someone yells my name and points to the passed out fella who's managed to get his thing out and started peeing while still on the side. Now at this point, everyone outside has stopped what they are doing to gasp at this turn of events. After a while, he begins to slowly lean backwards and the arc of pee gradually goes higher and higher into the air. Finally, he makes it all the way onto his back, and the angle of his pecker is just so right that the remaining pee hits him right between the eyes. Half the party was disgusted and unimpressed, but the rest had plenty to bond over for the rest of the night. At a party in a huge house on the lake that had a second living room upstairs, walking up the stairs, I can hear all this commotion going on. As I enter the room, there is this guy smashing a chick on the couch, doggy style, right in front of everyone. He was getting high fives from other guys, and people were just standing around and watching and cheering. Well, a few years later, I got married, and at Thanksgiving dinner with my in-laws, when my brother-in-law brought his new girlfriend to meet the family, you guessed it, it was her. The same girl that was getting smashed on the couch. Well, he ended up getting married to this girl, and now every time I see them at a family get-together, all I can see is the image from that night at the lake. Some chick was having a house party while her parents were out of town, and she was in her teens. Invited like half the school, so she was the typical stuck-up girl that didn't really have any real friends, just a bunch of fake ones. Anyways, this one guy is having a good time being reasonable, and she doesn't like him, so she has a bunch of people just starting to treat him like crap. He then gets told to leave, and he's like, well, I gotta use the bathroom first. And there are currently all bathrooms occupied, so she tells him to leave, and he can't use the washroom. The dude then said, oh, well, there's a urinal right there, and proceeds to punch a hole in the wall and pees in it. Road trip to Alabama with my college roommate so he can win his ex's heart back. There was a fun, drunk week party hopping. One frat party we went to was outdoors, and we were already wasted before getting there. My roommate and his ex were making out, and I told them to get a room. And they then vanished into the night and left me alone to talk to this dude from New York who looked just like Christian Bale. Or at least according to my drunk brain. I got his number for some reason and then went looking for my roommate. Next thing I know, a group of girls are screaming that they found a dead body. Behind a truck was my roommate and his lady going at it doggy style while he was flexing behind her to all the people now staring at them. They were kicked out, which meant I was also kicked out. Story 10. Watched a guy lose at beer pong and get mad enough that he turned around and punched the first thing that he could land his hand on, which turned out to be a window. Now in the movies, if you break a window, you don't get hurt. In real life, if you slam your fist through a window, the falling glass cuts you so deep that you practically amputate your own hand. There was so much blood that we thought that was what happened. We thought he sliced his hand off. One of the sober partiers rushed him to the hospital while the rest of us just left because the scene involved so much blood that none of us even wanted to party anymore. Now he ended up being okay. Has a gnarly scar for the rest of his life, but at least he didn't actually lose his hand. I was at a party and this couple went into a bedroom to do their thing. No big deal, it happens. They come out and I notice this guy run into the room right after them and dig in the garbage. He fishes out their freshly used, still damp condom and takes it out to the main floor and gets everyone's attention. Then he shamelessly tips it back and dumps the entire contents in his mouth and swallows. The dude literally took a shot from a used condom in front of an entire party just to get a reaction out of everyone. For some reason, he looks pretty pleased with himself and everyone else just looks absolutely disgusted. I've been trying to rationalize the action ever since I saw it. Also, the guy who used the protection tried to then fight him and was really pissed off about it. Someone broke it up and the party dispersed soon after. I threw a party at my house and a bunch of people from another school that I didn't know showed up. One guy came wearing a Hulk mask and had those giant Hulk gloves, and he ended up banging this chick on my pool table, still wearing his outfit, chanting, "Give it to the Hulk, give it to the Hulk."